Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Iqmal bin Abdul Wahab. Metric number 1180766. For the first question, discuss whether Sheikh Abdul Karim's appointment as a Shariah Committee member in AEA Prestige Malaysia poses threat to independence of Shariah Committee member towards performing their duties to the Islamic banks they are serving from the perspective of BNM. From the perspective of BNM, in determining Shariah qualified person, an IFI must assess whether the person fulfills the three criteria. First, holds at minimum a bachelor's degree in Shariah, which includes study in Usul Fiqh or Fiqh Muamalat. Second, possesses solid knowledge in Shariah with reasonable Islamic finance knowledge and experience of the relevant industry. And third, demonstrate strong proficiency and knowledge in written and verbal Arabic with good command in the preferred language of the IFI, either Bahasa Malaysia or English language. So from these three criteria, we can see that Sheikh Abdul Karim has completed these three criteria. He has taught different subjects of Sharia knowledge such as Usul Fiqh, Fiqh and Comparative study of law system at different institutions in Pakistan. He has also learned a lot about finance in different institutions before this and has an experience in the field of Islamic finance and takaful. He obtained Shahadatul Alamiyah from Jamiat Al-Ulum Al-Islamiyah Al-Alamah Binori Town Karachi, Pakistan, and completed his takhasus fil Ifta from Jamiah Darul Ulum Karachi. So this qualification indicate that he is very proficient in Arabic, and because he is the head of the Sharia department for Group Islamic Banking function for International Bank before this, it showed that he was also very proficient in speaking English. So Sheikh Abdul Karim's appointment as a Sharia Committee member in AEA Prestige Malaysia does not pose a threat to independence of Shariah Committee member towards performing their duties to the Islamic bank they are serving.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Shakib bin Syahrul Hisham. My metric number 1180790. So today I would like to explain about the case study 2, which is the question 2, the difference between the Shariah Governance and Shariah Assurance Guidance issued by BNM of Malaysia, IOFI and IFSB. So we look at first at the BNM from the Shariah Governance perspective, which is the function. The BNM function is to ensure that IFI operations and business activities are accordant with Sharia, and then it outlines the function relating to Sharia review, Sharia audit, Sharia risk management and Sharia research. And then in terms of the comparison for the guideline, the IFI are responsible to establish a sound and robust Sharia governance framework, and then IFI shall set out the accountability and responsibility of every key functionary involved in the implementation of Sharia governance framework. And thirdly, the IFI should ensure the sound Sharia decision making and emphasize on the role of the board and of the director, and etc. You can read at your own, and then we go to the appointment comparison. So for the BNM, it defines the criteria for Sharia committee, which is the first one, the person is a Muslim individual. The second one, the person have been assessed to have met the requirements specified in the policy document on fit and proper criteria on continuous basis. And lastly, the person is either a Sharia qualified person or an expert who possesses skills, knowledge and experience relevant to support the roles and responsibility of Sharia committee. And lastly, the responsibility comparison in the Sharia governance, which is the BNM the BNM providing a decision or advice to the IFI on the application of any rulings of the SSC or standard on Sharia matters. And next is providing a decision or advice on matter which require a reference to be made to the SSC. Next, is providing a decision or advice on the operation, business, affairs, and activities of the IFI, which may trigger of a non-Sharia compliant event, and etc. So next we go to the Sharia assurance explanation, which is the comparison in terms of Sharia audit function. So the Sharia audit function for the BNM is its function is to provide an independent assessment on the quality and effectiveness of the IFI internal control, risk management system, governance processes, as well as the overall compliance of the IFI operations, business affairs, and activities with Sharia. And lastly, for the comparison perspective for the Sharia review function, the BNM conduct regular assessment on the compliance of the operation, business, affairs, and activities of the IFI, which is the Islamic Financial Institution with Sharia requirement. Alright, so that's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Anwar bin Muhammad Aswin, 1180717. This slide will be explain about the organization of the Sharia governance for the IOFI, which is stand for the Accounting, Auditing, Organization, Islamic Financial Institution. And firstly, for the function, which is the IOFI, stand for the leading of the international non-for-profit organization that are responsible to the development and all the issuance of the standard for the global Islamic financial industry. This can be explained that they play the role to review and providing all the Sharia related for the development of the policy, the procedure, or the process. For example, the IOFI has content at least 110 standard and the issuance so far in the area of the Sharia accounting, auditing, and the governance. Next will be the IOFI guideline. Firstly, IOFI guideline, they want to set up the comprehensive framework, especially to the Sharia compliance function to the institution, and they want to defining the role of the Sharia as a part of the governance, control, and the practice compared to the conventional. Also, they want to coordinating the Sharia compliance with another national Sharia board, for instance, Central Sharia Board, and other relevant bodies that to establish the best practice in the area of the relating to the Islamic banking and the finance product. In other words, they want to supporting the Sharia Supervisory Board and how to performing the Sharia functions, particularly to documenting, communicating, and enforcing the decision. Next will be the appointment of the IOFI. For the appointment, they can be categorized to two types, which is the Sharia Supervisory Board and the Central Sharia Board. For the Sharia Supervisory Board, for the appointment, the member of the member can be appointed by the shareholder during the annual general meetings that have been recommended. They have been made from the recommendation of the board of directors. So SB consists at least 3 members that have expertise in business, economy, law, and accounting. While for the Central Sharia Boards, the Central Sharia Boards consists at least 5 members or 7 members, and majority must be from the Sharia background, and the decision on Sharia matters based on the majority of the Sharia member decision. For the responsibility, Sharia Supervisory Board has an independent bodies of the specialized jurists in terms of the fiqh muamalat and entrust with the duty of directing, reviewing, and supervising all the
related of the Islamic financial institution, which is the Sharia Supervisory Board, stressing the importance on how of the independence for the Islamic financial institution, on how to enhance the public confidence in the Islamic financial market as a compliant and in its application and of Sharia rule and the principle. Meanwhile, for the Central Sharia Boards, stand for the national level Sharia Boards that oversee all the Islamic finance industry, and they are providing the consultation to the regulatory bodies on all the issue relating to the Islamic financial institution. And they also providing the advisory to the regulator and how to settle the complaints and the issue raised from the Islamic compliance or the customer itself. This slide will be explained about the Sharia review and the auditings of the IOFI. In a nutshell, for the IOFI review, stand for the examination of the extent of the state financial compliance and all of the activity. This can be explained as the it include the contract agreement of the Islamic Sharia compliance, policy, product, transaction, financial statement, and all of their record, especially when it's come in terms of the internal audit and the central bank inspection. In addition of that, for the internal review, they want to ensure the management of the financial are doing their responsibility on the relation of on how to implementation of the Sharia rule and the principle they are determined based on the Sharia supervisory board. Lastly, for the audits, lastly for the audit, IOFI regularly use the AGC, which is the Audit Governance Committee, to play the role to achieve the fundamental objective to enhance the transparency and the disclosure of the financial report and to gain the public confidence regarding to the Sharia application and their compliance.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Arif Zini bin Abdul Malik. My metric number is 1180812. So next, I will explain the difference in IFSB, which is firstly is in Sharia governance. The first one is the function. IFSB have underlying guiding principles which are general approach to the Sharia governance system: competence, independence, confidentiality, and consistency. Next, IFSB further explains how the Sharia governance system complements the existing governance, control, and compliance functions within IFIS. Point number 2 is guideline. Issues of relevant Sharia pronouncement or resolutions. D. Dissemination of information on such Sharia pronouncement or resolutions to the operative personnel of the IFIS. C. An internal Sharia compliance review or audit reports that if there is any incident of non-compliance. D. An annual Sharia compliance review not by the Sharia board. Point number 3 is appointment, which is IFSB define criteria for ISCU and ISRU. The first one is good character. That is honesty, integrity, fairness, and reputation. B. Competence, diligence, capability, and soundness of judgment. Thus, the point is responsibility. Their responsibility is advising the BOD on Sharia-related matters. B. Reviewing and endorsing Sharia-related policy and guidelines. C. Endorsing and validating relevant documentation for new products and service. D. Overseeing the computation and distribution of zakat and any other fund to be channeled to charity. Next, assisting and advising relevant parties that serve the IIFS, such as its legal counsel, auditor, or other consultants upon request. The last one is put on record in written form any opinion that it gives on Sharia-related issues. So, the next one is Sharia assurance. The difference is in Sharia review function, which is in Sharia review function, the SRU reports shall require or recommend the management of the IIFS to address the rectify any issues of Sharia compliance. Next, Sharia audit function, which is produce reports indicating whether the IIFS has complied with Sharia requirement throughout the financial year. That's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Ahmad Mahazim Ahmadov. Now we move to question 3. Question 3 asks on how AEA Prestige Malaysia deals with the concentration risk of tawaruk concepts within its operation. Concentration risk is a banking term describing the level of risk in a bank's portfolio arising from the concentration to a single counterparty, sector, or country. And tawaruk is the process of mutawarrik, which is cash seeker, to acquire a commodity on credit and then selling it to a third party at a lower spot price. Manage the concentration risk is by diversification. AEA Prestige Malaysia diversify the range of financing to customers with background portfolio and different types of industry. By diversifying, bank can know which customer can make the loan repayment within the agreed duration of the payment. The less diverse lender's loan background portfolio, the higher its concentration risk. With this, bank can sort out which customer that manage to fulfill the requirement of the loan repayment and continue to serve them with the financing product. It helps to reduce the risk of experiencing big losses while using the tawaruk concept. Next way to manage concentration risk is by regular review of the bank's customers. By review the qualification of customers, the AEA Prestige Malaysia managed to select a trustworthy and eligible customer to offer the bank's financing service. And this is to ensure that bank have enough amount of resources to give financing. The risk to concentrate only on one customer or industry will be spread to the customers and help to balance the focus of the bank. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Haziq Izzuddin bin Hamizi, matric number 1180814. Back on question 4, on advice Sheikh Abdul Karim on the merits of enrolling into either CSAA program or CPSA program, taking into account his situations. Regarding to his position as Sharia Committee member in AEA Prestige Malaysia, we would like to suggest him to enroll CPSA program because first, it is the most relevant course program since he has a vast knowledge in Sharia compliance for international banking but lack in Sharia compliance for Islamic financial institution in Malaysia. Next, the outcome by taking this program, he will be able to comprehend the scope, procedures, and potential issues in developing Sharia audit program, and he can apply the technical review to determine Sharia compliance of banking and financial operations. And finally, CPSA program have various models cover not just on the review but also auditing, risk management, and governance. Thus, CPSA program also cover fundamental of accounting and reporting for transactions adopted in Islamic banking and takaful and Islamic capital market that according to the international standards such as IFRS and IOFI standards. That's all from us. Thank you.